Good evening, everyone. I will call tonight's meeting of the regular City Council for March 17, 2026 to order, and I will ask us all to rise and proudly recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, can you kindly do roll call, please?
Yes. Councilmember Brando Cruz.
Here.
Councilmember Melissa Lamatina.
Here.
Councilmember David Oro.
Here.
Vice Mayor Mark Joseph.
Here.
Mayor Pierre Washington.
Here. Thank you. Report on closed session and confirmation of reportable actions. Ms. Highsmith.
Thank you, Mayor. The council met in closed session this evening to discuss two separate matters: conference with real property negotiators for various property addresses APN 057090065, 057120036, 057090066, and 057120017. Direction was provided to staff and no action was taken. The second closed session matter was to receive a report regarding a threat to public services or facilities from City Manager Jason Hawley. Again, direction was provided to staff and no action was taken. And that is the end of my report, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam City Attorney. Tonight we have two proclamations. First proclamation, item number 3, will be a proclamation for Red Cross. At this time, I would like to ask any representatives for the American Red Cross to come forward to receive the proclamation. I will read it in full, and then afterward, I will allow an opportunity for you to share some remarks. When we conclude, we'll take a photograph up front. I'll start reading the proclamation. March 2026 is Red Cross Month. Whereas in March, we celebrate American Red Cross Month, recognizing the compassionate acts of people in American Canyon, and by renewing our commitment to lend a helping hand to our neighbors in need. And whereas since Carla Barton founded the American Red Cross almost 150 years ago, generations after generations have stepped up to deliver relief and care across our country and around the world. And whereas the volunteers, the blood and platelets donors, and financial supporters who now give back through the Sonoma-Napa Disaster Response Area of American Red Cross remain unwavering in their commitment to prevent and to alleviate human suffering in the faces of today's emergencies. And whereas their volunteer and generous contributions shine a beacon of hope in people's darkest hours, whether it's delivering shelter, food and comfort during disasters, providing critical blood donations for hospital patients, supporting service members, veterans and their families, saving lives with first aid, CPR, AED, and other skills, or delivering international aid and reconnecting loved ones separated by global crises. And whereas this work to uplift our community is truly made possible by those who selfishly answer to the call to help whenever and wherever it's needed. And now, therefore, I, Mayor Pierre Washington, on behalf of American Canyon City Council, do hereby proclaim March 2026 as Red Cross Month. I encourage all citizens of American Canyon to reach out and to support its humanitarian mission, and that's dated today, March 17, 2026.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. My name is Amarjot Toor, and I'm a senior at American Canyon High School and the president of the American Red Cross Club for this year. I've been a part of the Red Cross for about 5 years. I first started as a volunteer, helping installing smoke alarms in mobile homes around here in American Canyon near Walgreens. We went door to door with Red Cross teams, helping families install free smoke alarms and teaching residents simple ways to stay safe in a case of fire. That experience showed me how small actions, like installing one alarm, can make a real difference in protecting families. I've also worked with the Red Cross to help educate others about international humanitarian law, which focuses on protecting civilians and humanitarian workers during times of conflict. Through this work, I help share information with the students and youth volunteers about the importance of humanitarian values and protecting human dignity around the world. This year, I'm also honored to serve as a Youth Executive Board Chair for the North Bay chapter, where I help support youth volunteers across Marin, Contra Costa, Solano, and Napa County. In this role, I work with other students to help grow youth volunteering, supportive service projects, and connect young people with opportunities to give back to their communities. It is truly an honor for the Red Cross to be recognized with the proclamation here in American Canyon. This tradition began nearly 80 years ago, where President Franklin D. Roosevelt issued the first National Red Cross Month proclamation, and every president has continued this tradition since then. Today, the Red Cross is powered by about 90% volunteers, along with generous financial donors, blood donors, community partners, and people trained in life-saving health and safety skills. The work of the Red Cross would not be possible without the support of the communities like American Canyon. We're always looking for more people who want to volunteer and help make a difference. On behalf of the American Red Cross, thank you so much for your continued support.
Good evening, Mayor Washington and City Council. My name is Sonia Chandy, and I'm a junior at American Canyon High School. I currently serve as a Youth Executive Board member for the North Bay Area Red Cross, a Vice President for my high school's Youth Red Cross chapter, and as Youth Commissioner for our city of American Canyon. I have been a Red Cross volunteer for 3 years, and I'm honored to accept this proclamation recognizing the organization's commitment to helping individuals and families in need. My Red Cross journey began through our city's Parks and Recreations lifeguard training program, where I earned my first Red Cross CPR and first aid certification. Learning these crucial water safety and emergency care skills inspired me to join and eventually lead my high school's Red Cross chapter. Over the past 3 years during my high school experience, our chapter has grown to 100 active members supporting the community through disaster preparedness, humanitarian efforts, and public health services. Our projects include installing smoke alarms and providing fire safety presentations in the American Canyon mobile home parks, organizing donation drives for local shelters, educating on sickle cell awareness, and connecting with Red Cross youth internationally by sending first aid kits to the Kenya Red Cross Society. A highlight of our work was organizing American Canyon's first ever blood drive in March 2025 in collaboration with the Stanford Blood Center, which brought in more than 50 blood donations. This event, along with our other preventative and educational projects, shows that volunteerism, we aren't just raising awareness, we are actively saving lives and learning to lead in unexpected situations. As a Red Cross volunteer, I've had a great opportunity to serve in the humanitarian law and its youth campaigns, biomedical services, and disaster prevention. Each experience has motivated me to continue showing care and compassion to every individual in my community, and I hope to carry this mission forward as an aspiring physician. On behalf of the American Red Cross, thank you for this proclamation. I'd also like to thank my fellow youth officers, chapter members, and volunteers for their support. Most of all, thank you to the city staff who worked closely with us to make the American Canyon a better prepared community. We look forward to continuing this partnership and organizing more life-saving initiatives in the future. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Janine Beltrias, and I'm in grade 11th. I serve as the treasurer for our school's Red Cross Club. I accept this proclamation on behalf of our club and our school's community. The mission of American Red Cross truly resonates with me on a personal level. There is something deeply profound about an organization that acts as a lifeline supporting disaster relief, ensuring a steady blood supply, and providing crucial emergency training. Knowing that these dedicated efforts are there to lift up communities and protect families during their most difficult, uncertain moments is incredibly inspiring to me. As treasurer, I not only manage funds from our club's activities, but also lead our outreach efforts. creating social media posts and emails to connect students with service opportunities. My goal is to boost awareness and get more students involved in making a difference. Together, our club works to bring compassion and action into our school and community. On the behalf of the team, thank you for recognizing Red Cross and supporting youth services. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maddie Ju, and I'm the secretary at American Canyon High School Red Cross Club. I'm currently a junior, and I'm honored to be here with the other officers to accept the city's proclamation on behalf of the American Red Cross National Observance. I wanted to begin by saying how much Red Cross matters to me. It represents compassion for the community as well as service in order to make a real difference. Volunteering has shown me that helping others isn't about big moments, but instead dedication and genuine care towards helping others. Having this club at our school is especially important because it brings awareness to issues that many people may not think about on a daily basis and is a great way for students to get involved and become more connected to our community. It's not just about what we do, but the impact that is made and what makes it meaningful to me. Over the past year, I've had opportunities of gaining hands-on experience through our volunteer events. Last year, I was able to serve and volunteer as a blood drive ambassador during our school's first ever blood drive, helping answer questions, greet donors, and make sure everything was smooth. I hope to continue this event, and it has really shown me how important each role and contribution makes a meaningful difference. Even a few hours of service can support and save people, ultimately strengthening the bond within our community. I wanted to thank everyone for coming and for the recognition of the Red Cross contributions that help to make a difference in the lives of those who need it most. Thank you.
And we'll come up and take a picture. And it seems like most of you guys were juniors, so we're going to get one more year of service out of you guys, huh? But thank you for what you guys do, so I appreciate you. Moving on to our second proclamation. It's a Government Finance Professional Week, March 23rd through March 27, 2026. Juan, will you be the recipient? Finance team. All right, I'll read the proclamation. Government's Finance Professional Week, March 23rd through 27, 2026. Whereas California Society of Municipal Finance Officers is a state-leading professional organization dedicated to promoting excellence in financial management for California local governments. And whereas government finance professionals serve cities, counties, special districts, and joint powers authorities by ensuring transparency, accountability, and responsibility in stewardship of public funds. And whereas these professionals play a critical role in managing complex budgets, complying with state and federal law, maintaining accurate financial reporting in compliance with government accounting standards, administering utility rate processes and enterprise funds, the supporting long-term financial sustainability, and whereas California financial landscape shaped by Proposition 13, Proposition 218, the GAN appropriation limits, the CalPERS pension obligations, and fluctuating economic conditions, requires expert analysts and sound financial leadership. And whereas financial professional works is diligent, often behind the scene, and provides critical information that enables informed policy decisions and ensures the delivery of essential public services. And whereas recognizing Government Financial Professional Week during the last week of March helps highlight the dedication, integrity, and professionalism of these essential public servants. Now, therefore, I, Pierre Washington, Mayor of American Canyon, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim March 23rd through March 27, 2026, as Government Financial Professional Week, and encourage all residents to recognize and appreciate the hard work and contributions of the financial professionals who serve our community. Dated March 17, 2026.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, members of the public. My name is Juan Gomez. I'm the Assistant City Manager. We are missing tonight our Finance Director, Jemelyn Cruz, who lost her voice and is out sick, so couldn't join us today. But next week is Government Finance Professionals Week, and I'd like to take a moment to recognize the people in this organization who keep our financial house in order. There's a lot of behind the scenes, a lot of regulations, a lot of things that we do. But our finance staff today here is Tony, Andy, Nikki, Ann, Josiah, and Monica. They are dedicated, detail-oriented. They survive audits, budget season, and the occasional quick question that is never really quick. In most cases, it's department asking for more money to finish a project or to buy something. But they work behind the scenes, providing the organization with clear, concise, and accurate information to make sound decisions. They have developed award-winning budgets and annual financial reports for 11 years in a row. They help American Canyon be a great place to live, work, and play. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll take a picture with all of you up here. We'll move on to our public comment. At this time, I would like to open up public comment for items that are not on tonight's agenda. You'll have 3 minutes to make your statement, and please begin by stating your name. You should have already given some speaker cards to our clerk. And we'll start with the first speaker card.
I'm calling Beth Marcus, please.
Yes, good evening. I'm here just to, I know I brought this up once before, but we have so many great events in our city, so many events, a lot of people don't know where they are, when it's happening, what time and everything. So I'm going to suggest again, if possible, we could get a reader board, maybe perhaps out in front of the city hall, so that people know what we have going on and what we're doing, because there's a lot of events that overlap and a lot of events that people miss, and not everybody goes on Facebook or whatever the other Nextdoor. Thank you, Hugh. Nextdoor, whatever. So anyhow, I would think that would be a great thing. So that's just my suggestion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Beth.
Hugh Marquez.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. First thing, I'd like to thank the city for doing the town hall meetings. I thought they were very informative. I'm glad that you came out and talked to the residents and got to hear some of their concerns. I was at the first one. I talked to many of you personally, and then I made my voice heard. But I'm coming today because there were two things I forgot to ask you about. And I was on the Transportation Committee when we were going to do the road by Napa Junction. And we recommended that a road come from the warehouses and come around by actually your area, by Fran Lemos, and come out that way. And I forgot to ask, and I'm asking now, is there a timeline for that to occur? I know that the committee, the Transportation Committee, or the committee that was doing the element recommended it. I believe, I've talked to Brent, and I believe that sort of was a plan, that is a plan to occur. And so I wanted to bring that up tonight to find out if there is a timeline for that to occur. With all the development that's coming, that is a secondary access out of American Canyon that takes traffic off the freeway. That's one. The other one was the road, and I may have mentioned it, is the road that's going to go across over to South Kelly Road. I know initially the city was planning on having the road come around and come out over here somewhere around the junction where the loop is, and that was a plan. I've sort of understood that is no longer the plan, and that the road is going to go to South Kelly. I may be wrong. I don't know. But my curiosity is more in, is there a timeline for this to occur? So we have an idea of what the city should be looking forward to. My concern has always been the roads. Erica knows I hit her all the time. And while I'm worried about the roads we have now, I know we're talking about the traffic, the Napa traffic is now talking about changing the roads up here. Again, I'm hoping that the city will start looking at a timeline of when these secondary routes will occur. Thank you.
Thank you, Hugh.
I have no other speaker cards. I do have a hand raised online.
Okay.
Karen, go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Mayor, council, staff, and public. I just wanted to say thank you, as Hugh did, for the State of the City addresses that you did. I did attend both, and I felt that they were very good and well presented. Staff did a lot of work putting that together for us. And on another note, I would just like to thank Public Works, particularly the water department today. My neighbor came over. She doesn't speak really great English, but she had no water. And so I went over and we kind of assessed the situation, and she had zero. It was off at the main. Anyway, we called, and we got a very prompt response. I felt that that was very outstanding and very much appreciated by my neighbor. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
Just wanted to give you all a heads up on that one. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
You bet.
I have no other hands raised online.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'll close public comment and move on to agenda changes. Are there any agenda changes?
Pardon me, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
It dawns on me with the folks I see in the audience, and I know we have somebody waiting online, whether council might consider moving item 11 up to the beginning of the business calendar so that folks in the audience would, I know we have a number of public comments related to that matter, if the council is open to that.
I'd certainly make a motion to make that adjustment.
Okay.
I'll second.
We have a second, so we'll be moving item number 11 to the next area. Can we get a roll call?
Yes. Sorry. No. And Councilmember Cruz,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamatina,
Yes.
Councilmember Oro,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Joseph,
Yes.
Mayor Washington.
Yes, and that was a roll call to change the item.
That was
Now
to-
I need a consent
exactly.
to make sure that we
Which I won't be
accept.
doing that. That's not
Correct.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent calendar.
And do I get a second?
I'll second.
We have a second, and Madam Clerk, can you do a roll call for that as well?
I sure will. Councilmember Cruz,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamatina,
Yes.
Councilmember Oro,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Joseph,
Yes.
Mayor Washington.
Yes. With that said, then we'll move to do item number 11, the House current Resolution 46 for Congressman Mike Thompson. And you'll be the presenter, Mr. Howell?
That's correct.
Okay.
I'm rapidly going through my binder to find
Okay.
item 11. Give me a second, please. This would be 456 of the packet for
Thank you,
those
sir.
who are following along. This item is a council requested item. It's also requested by our Congressman Mike Thompson. Has sent in a letter. He's proposed some new legislation in the House, resolution number 46. A member of his staff, Myra Ayala, is actually on Zoom World and has some additional thoughts for us related to this. But the council requested we bring this item forward. It relates to climate restoration goals, and he's building together a coalition here locally. So far, RCD and the Napa Board of Education have also endorsed this, and so the congressman is asking likewise for the council's endorsement. The resolution itself is in the packet starting on page 513, and if council has any questions, it might be better directed at Myra, but I'm happy to answer any questions as well.
Do we want Myra to go ahead and make a statement, or?
Sure.
Is she just prepared to answer questions?
Myra, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, anything you want to add?
Perfect.
Yeah, anything you want to add about this?
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you, Mayor and council members and Jason. Thank you for the opportunity to join you today. As many of you know, and if we have any guests in the chambers, my name is Myra, and I am speaking on behalf of Congressman Mike Thompson, who has authored H.R. 46. First, I want to thank the students in the schools across the district, including American Canyon, for their leadership on climate action. Your advocacy and your commitment to protecting our environment are inspiring, and you've played a key role in bringing attention to this issue. Congressman Thompson introduced this resolution to highlight the importance of climate restoration and the need for thoughtful science-based solutions. It reflects a commitment to protecting our environment and ensuring a sustainable future for the next generation. Local support is critical to advancing efforts like this. A formal endorsement from the City of American Canyon and its council would help reinforce our shared commitment to climate restoration and demonstrate a strong community backing for this work. We would be grateful for your support. Thank you again for your time and consideration, and thank you to the City of American Canyon for always being a leader on environmental issues. I think it's telling with our wetlands and our beautiful environment, open space, the type of leadership the council has carried, and we would be honored to have an endorsement from the City of American Canyon and its council.
And thank you, Myra. Are there any clarifying questions from council or comments? Seeing none, at this time, I'd like to open it up to public comment for item number 11.
Mayor, I have a written comment received from Lori Stelling. You all should have gotten that in iLegislate. And I do have some speaker cards. I'm going to just call all three of them. They're going to speak in order. So Aria is going to go first, Alexander second, and Catherine third.
Hi, thank you for putting this agenda, pushing it up. Thank you. My name is Aria Ade, and I'm a senior at Vintage High School, and I'm also co-vice president of Napa Schools for Climate Action. Our student-led organization advocated for the climate emergency resolutions that all Napa County jurisdictions adopted, each with the goal of achieving net zero climate pollution by 2030. Like Napa, American Canyon has a new general plan that specifies the 2030 net zero goal, and we just want to say we're really grateful for that again. So today I just want to urge you to pass a resolution in strong support of Congressman Mike Thompson's House Concurrent Resolution 46, which was introduced into Congress this past July. Emissions reductions and adaptation, while essential, are no longer sufficient. The congressional resolution declares that the United States has a moral obligation to future generations to restore atmospheric CO2 levels to levels humans have safely experienced long term by 2030 through rapid, deep emissions cuts, as well as massive deployment of safe, scalable carbon dioxide removal. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize the Napa County Board of Education, who recently adopted a resolution affirming their alignment with the core principles of the Climate Restoration Resolution. They wrote letters to American Canyon. I don't know if you have read it, but they wrote a letter to you and other cities urging you all to endorse the resolution, and they're preparing to do the same with many other entities, including the Superintendent of Schools, Superintendent of Education, Board of Education, etc. So thank you so much for taking the time to take our message seriously, and please let us know if we can help in any way to get wider support. Thank you.
Thank you, Aria.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Alexander Gallegos. I'm a junior in UTEC, and I'm a recent member here in the Napa Schools for Climate Action. And I have joined recently this year, and I haven't been as committed as I would like to, but due to other resources outside of school, I have many other commitments such as track, and I'm trying to put as much effort as I can into this. So I'm here again, very nervous, as you guys can tell by my speech. I'm grateful for being here again, and that you guys are considering the resolution we requested and we spoke to you in February. As it reads, quote, "Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of American Canyon hereby endorses House Concurrent Resolution 46, end quote. This is huge. Your willingness to step up and pledge your support is extremely important, as the next few years will present critical junctures in our climate system. Many of Earth's tipping points include the melting of Arctic sea ice and the collapsing of the Atlantic meridional overturning circulation are being passed as we speak here, and yet another breaking record heat. House Concurrent Resolution 46 addresses these issues head on. It reads in part, quote, "Whereas scientists and technologists have developed and demonstrated CO2 sequestration methods that replicate and leverage natural processes in ways that significantly reduce atmospheric CO2 concentrations, whereas climate restoration in precondition for intergenerational climate justice, as young people will suffer the worst effects of climate breakdown," end quote. Thank you, American Canyon, for your resolution. Your leadership will benefit us not only by educating our community on the climate crisis, but also insisting on implementing solutions. We need you, and we're here to help you too. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, and you did an excellent job up there.
Good evening, Mayor Washington and American Canyon City Council. My name is Catherine Bitt. I'm a senior at American Canyon High School, student body vice president, co-president of Napa Schools for Climate Action, and the current youth commissioner serving on the OSATS Commission. As our schools and governments recognize their obligation to restore a safe climate for us, please remember how critical it is right now that you provide strong climate leadership that makes a difference. Strong leadership is proactive, generous, creative, result-oriented leadership. As you can see, I'm wearing goggles to enforce my immunity as I participate in a popular game within my senior class. Being deeply engaged in my youth community, whether through taking part in silly games or seriously advocating for youth voices, I understand the needs of my peers. We young people are depending on you. Our futures are in your hands. Climate restoration is a critical factor in how we will end the climate catastrophe. If we just reduce our greenhouse gas emissions to net zero by 2030, the net zero deadline, or later, as the international community proposes to do, what do we do with the heat-trapping pollution that remains in the atmosphere? This is where climate restoration comes in, as its reliable, scalable, and durable sequestration can lock existing carbon dioxide pollution away for millennia. Knowing that a safe and sustainable future and world is still within reach has been an incredible light of hope for me as a young individual, alleviating my climate anxiety and motivating me to work on such an incredible project such as House Resolution 1563, which was initially introduced in a Congress in 2024, and now House Concurrent Resolution 46, which was now just introduced by Rep. Mike Thompson in the 119th Congress last July. In November, at the invitation of Napa RCD, our Napa Schools Climate Action team led a 1-hour workshop at the CARCD's annual convention in Sacramento. We are grateful for the RCD's resolution and enthusiastic support of the Congressional Climate Restoration Resolution, as it emphasizes the importance of leveraging natural carbon sequestration methods, mostly marine-based, and supporting emerging technologies to help achieve this goal. As Congressman Thompson's 2024 Climate Crisis Champions, we understand the effort and dedication it takes to make a difference. Along with the resolution you have before you tonight, please do all you can to continue the positive momentum. In doing so, you will help us realize our dreams of a safe and healthy world for many generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
That is my last speaker card, and I have no other hands raised online.
Okay, then I'll close public comment, and I'll return to council for item number 11 for any further discussion or a motion for the resolution. Vice Mayor Joseph.
Well, number one, I just want to appreciate all the comments and support, and in particular, considering the students asked for a resolution and our congressman asked for a resolution, and I think our council gave direction to come back with a resolution, I appreciate the course correction our city manager did and got us a resolution. So I just want to say thank you for that. And if there's no other comments, then I would be happy to push this issue on by asking that make a motion to approve the resolution of the City Council of the City of American Canyon endorsing House Concurrent Resolution 46 regarding climate restoration goals.
I second.
We have a second. Can we get a roll call, please, Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Cruz?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamatina?
Yes.
Councilmember Oro?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Joseph?
Yes.
Mayor Washington?
Yes. And I'd also like to thank Mr. Holly for thinking of the youngsters and making sure we put this at the top so they get home and get back to their studies. And thank you for all that you do. We'll move on to item number 8, the 2025 calendar year general plan and housing element annual progress report. Mr. Brent Cooper.
Well, good evening, Mayor, council members, and members of the public. I'm Brent Cooper, Redevelopment Director, and very pleased to present to you the 2025 calendar year annual housing element and general plan progress report. Both of these evaluations of our housing element and general plan are required by the state of California, and I'm going to run through for you some of the things that are going on with the housing element. Much like our income taxes that are due in April, so is the housing element annual report, and there's a lot of similarities, except the housing element reports may be a little more complex and they're required earlier. But anyway, back in 2023, the city was certified by the state of California for our housing element plan, and this is a plan to provide housing for all segments of our community and all income types. And along with that comes a goal for housing achievement through streamlining process and land available with zoning to build houses. Along with that are probably about 100 implementation measures to help find ways to remove barriers for housing and further housing for all. So it's pretty involved, and there's a lot of work, and we'll talk about some of those things. We can't do this alone, and we are enormously grateful for our housing partners, folks that have taken on the challenge and are helping in very meaningful ways. And by that I mean the City of Housing Napa Authority. We've had a relationship with them for many years. Housing grants and administration of ways in providing Section 8 vouchers, federal rules, enormously complex. It's a very detailed specialty, and we're very, very happy that they have partnered with our city to provide that resource for us. Fair Housing Napa Valley, another group that helps both landlords and tenants navigate disputes and helps with fair housing in Napa County and in American Canyon. We have in June, we typically have an annual report from all of these organizations, and it's always very interesting to see how much work they do to help our citizens in American Canyon. And then another one that's really wonderful is the Napa-Sonoma ADU Center. So building an accessible accessory dwelling unit on a house is a big undertaking for anybody. And this organization is dedicated to providing education, resources, navigating with help with financing, all of those things that help homeowners be able to navigate the process. And so we're really grateful that they can spend their time and work with people with the level of detail that they can. I guess I would also be remiss before I get on this is another partner is Napa County. And they have an ADU forgivable loan program, which is available to residents in American Canyon. There's a partnership between them and the ADU Center. And so they're another partner that's very helpful, and we're grateful for them. So getting into some of the statistical information the state requires that we present to them, they're interested in looking at what development has gone through the planning entitlement process, really early in the process, to what's being built, and then what was completed. And so if we look at 2025, the city approved 104 dwelling units. There were 100 units down here at Crawford and Highway 29, the Crawford Way Townhome Project, and then 4 ADUs. So now it's pretty straightforward. Building permits, we have kind of a bundle of different projects. A few years ago, we had a very large number of entitlement projects that went through the planning process, came to the Planning Commission, a few went to the council with subdivision maps, and they're all being built now. And so we have a lot of development activity throughout the city. And so during 2025, 6 accessory dwelling units received building permits. We had 102 here on Oat Hill behind City Hall. There were 36 single-family homes in one subdivision in Watson Ranch, another 5 single-family homes in another part of Watson Ranch. And then we have a beautiful model home that's under construction at the Canyon Estates project. It's nice to see that one moving forward. Richmond American has purchased 33 of the 35 lots, and they have about 7 different floor plans, and it's really exciting to see that project move forward since it went through the entitlement process 12 years ago. So, like I say, you can't rush quality. Or as some might say, you can approve it, but that doesn't mean they'll get built. But anyway, this is coming along. We're really grateful for that. And then certificates of occupancy, though this is my equivalent of you go to a restaurant, you ask for the check, and you pay the check, and you want to get out of the restaurant. No. Right? So the certificates of occupancy is a very similar process where they're done, like, let me pay up, let me wrap it up, and get out of here. So we had 78 units that paid their check and left town, figuratively, and that would be 8 accessory dwelling units and 70 single-family homes in the Watson Ranch neighborhood of Harvest. So it's nice to see those things get finished and new families moving in and creating memories. Getting a little more statistical, there's a table that we use, that the state requires us, to track how we're doing with our housing element. The housing element plan lasts 8 years. And so every year in the 8-year process, the state wants to make sure that we're doing our job. And so we report for every year. And coming up at the end of this calendar year, as they do every year, the state of California judges every city on how well they're doing with their housing element, and they publish a report right around Christmas. We call it the naughty or nice list. And so if you're nice, which where we have been, you get to keep your zoning ordinance and have your rules. If you haven't been following your housing element plan as they view it, then there are new state laws that are invoked that take away your local rights to regulate housing in American Canyon or your own city. So anyway, this is a very important chart that goes into that. For those that might be able to see, we have a gold star. We have far exceeded 231%, kind of like a vitamin pill, of our above moderate housing. So we've done a great job in American Canyon of building housing that satisfy folks that have an income over 120% of the Napa County median. We're a little shy on income housing for very low, and moderate income folks. So those are areas that may need some focus and attention going forward. Here's a really busy chart. This is published every year, and this if you're interested, shows that the median household income in Napa County for a family of 4 is $146,700. So why is that important? Well, if you're looking at, does this house satisfy very low, and moderate, they're all tied to this chart that rates whether or not a household is in those income categories. And you might notice that the larger the household, the more generous the amount is for the median income. So that's kind of what that's talking about. American Canyon has an ordinance that requires commercial development to pay a small amount towards offsetting their demand they create for low-income housing. So as we know, when you have a warehouse and stuff, not everybody there makes a large income. And so as you bring jobs in, you also bring in folks that have lower incomes and need housing. And so we have a very modest affordable housing fund. So as these buildings get built, they pay a fee that goes into an account that helps the city leverage grants and other housing programs. And so this last calendar year, it was just under $560,000. There are some residential projects that also pay this fee. An example was the Oat Hill project, where they do so when they don't provide any affordable housing in their own project. So it kind of comes from a couple sources. Affordable housing permanent activity, mentioned before the Crawford Way townhome project. They will be providing 9 affordable units when they're built, depending upon whether they end up being apartments or rented or ownership. 9 units if it's sold, made available for selling, or 13 units if it's apartments. So it's a little different standard depending upon what happens. You might wonder why it's different. Our ordinance is really trying to encourage builders to build startup homes that people can own. And so there is a smaller, lower threshold for ownership housing. Accessory dwelling units, I mentioned, city has done well on achieving that. Among the requirements to help further housing, I mentioned those 100 standards. We have a threshold also for helping to facilitate accessory dwelling units. And so we've achieved 17 in the last 3 years, which exceeds our housing element goal ahead of schedule. So we can take a bow for that. And it's also thanks to our friends at Napa-Sonoma Housing Authority and Napa County. We're all kind of working together. Things coming up we can look forward to this calendar year. We do have a project, Sun Square, great organization, nonprofit, over in Napa Junction Road. They are considering modifying their entitlement for a larger project, and so we've been working with them. We also expect to see the Crawford Way Townhome project move forward. They do have building permit applications in with us, so we hope that that gets constructed next year. We have single-family homes that are ongoing in Watson Ranch, and the Domain Apartments, you can see the ones at the top of the hill there. Expect that should be finished up in this next calendar year. And then we have our friends at the Canyon Estates. They now have sort of maybe upgraded the name to the Enclave at Canyon Estates to add a little cachet. I want to talk a bit about the general plan. That too is required by the state to evaluate every year. And so I have a number of programs here, both from the housing element, which is part of the general plan. So I'd mentioned the 17 affordable accessory dwelling units is a specific goal there in the housing element. The Crawford Way project is also another one to help facilitate projects that provide affordable housing. The city also deployed a new software system, which is another housing element goal to help streamline and improve our development processing and make it easier. The general plan update is another goal there in the housing element to help update all of our policies to modern standards. The city processed 4 discretionary planning entitlements, and there are 12 major construction projects that have happened in the last year. And then in terms of sustainability, the general plan has 200 Greenleaf sustainability policies, which is a new feature in our general plan. If we look somewhat of those, what might be sustainable programming efforts, we all love the sheep. It's nice when sustainable can be cute. So the sheep grazing is really a wonderful thing that we can all get behind. The Newell Open Space Plan, we love open space. It helps with nature. The Napa County Regional Climate Action and Adaptation Plan, we've been partnering with that. It's been going on a little longer than the update of the general plan, I'll just point out. But you can't rush quality. It's coming to a close, and we're looking forward to that. The Napa Junction Solar Farm on the highway, they've graded it nice and flat, and not too long from now you'll see structures with solar panels on there. The Wetlands and Edge Enhancement and Outdoor Classroom, thank you everybody involved in that. Green Island Road Class 1, expanded Vine Trail service, Napa River ecology grants and construction. We have robust volunteer stewardship program and EV charging stations, just to mention a few. So these all support policies in the general plan, and in particular, sustainable policies. So we're all kind of working towards the same path and direction, which is really nice to see. So as for next steps, we went to the Planning Commission on February 26th and gave them a presentation. Tonight we are here at the council, and then afterwards we'll be sending these reports both to the State of California Department of Housing and Community Development and the Governor's Office of Land Use and Climate Innovation. So those are our 2 requirements. So with that, glad to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Brett. This some exciting times. I'll open it up for any questions from the council. We'll start with Councilmember Cruz.
Vernon, thank you for the report. Just a clarifying question. So if I were to build an ADU in my backyard, would that count towards the RHNA numbers that we're obligated to?
Yes, it does, and we're happy to help you.
Awesome. Thank you. That's all I got.
Vice Mayor Joseph.
Yes. Number one, just as an observation, I'm always impressed at how the state is breaking out low. I notice now we have low, very low, extremely low, and acutely low. I'm just amazed. Do they have percentage? I don't know. We're still only have to worry about very low, which includes extremely low and acutely
income,
low.
Very low, low, moderate, and above moderate.
Okay, so the fact that the state now breaks it out into 2 additional subcategories is just
If I look carefully through the 100 implementation measures, I think there are some things snuck in there that encourage us to do what we can to help the extremely low income housing, which is a need. There's arguably, there's no question there's a need for all of this.
Yeah, understood. It just is amazing. The other one, the bigger question I have is, what are the strategies to get to the low and very low numbers that we're very low in achieving at this point?
Really, we'd be partnering and supporting affordable housing, nonprofit typically, but not necessarily builders. This may come as a surprise, but there are many communities in California where neighbors are very unhappy when these happen. And so a lot of what we see in American Canyon, we really don't experience that happens elsewhere in California. And so it might seem odd to us, but the state would be very happy if we supported and embraced an affordable housing builder that needed us to assist them with their low-income tax credit statistics and information, and just supporting them in ways that they need, which we do, but apparently it doesn't always happen throughout California.
Okay. And then the last one is the ADUs. I mean, it's impressive that we exceeded our estimates, but it also seems like that might be the silver bullet, if there is one. And so I'm wondering, is there any way to do some kind of analysis of what's the ADU potential in American Canyon? I mean, if you look at, homes that are either, some of the homes that were 3,000 plus square feet probably could be converted into junior ADUs somewhat easily. Some of the older lots that are bigger lots than houses could have the ADU.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way to kind of go through and say, look, we could potentially get 100 ADUs without much effort? I mean, assuming the owners wanted to do it, but potentially there's that kind of a number, so we have something to be able to say that could be part of our, how we're going to meet our RHNA obligations.
It could be. It's one of those two-edged sword. If you offer it up, then they'll say, great, now you have to do it. So there is a lot of potential for accessory dwelling units, just because they can come in so many sizes.
Right.
And it's even legal, and a lot of the accessory dwelling unit laws come from the state. So we have to adopt an ordinance, but they come from the state. And if we don't adopt their laws, then they get mad. So you can take a garage and convert that into. So most homes in American Canyon, a single family, have a two-car garage. So state says you're allowed to convert that into ADU. So that's just one example, but there are a lot of ways of being able to sneak them in, tuck them in here or there on a lot.
Okay. Because being an analytical nerd, it'd be nice to have a study that says here's our potential. But absent that, just programs that incentivize, that offer whatever incentives that are out there, or maybe what we can throw on the table, because I do think that might be a very convenient way to meet our low and very low RHNA numbers. I'm not saying that we commit to building 100. I'm just saying we've already got 100 units that we're already obligated to to build. The ADUs may be the secret strategy that we can pursue.
Well, we'll keep working on it, and we'll be back to you next year and see how we do.
Okay.
They do count, so that's a plus. And there's, for those that are watching, the county has grant funds that help fund building an ADU. And if you rent it at an affordable rate to a third party or tenant, or even a family member, over a certain period of time, the loan is forgiven. So after a certain number of years, there's no loan anymore. So it's really a wonderful program, and it really helps defray the cost. By state law, if the unit is under 750 square feet, there's no school fees. There's no impact fees. There's no connection fees for water, sewer, parks, And so the permit fees for it are very low.
Yeah.
But you still have to build it.
Well, that's true. But
and I don't know about you, but even just, a kitchen remodel can strike terror in your heart. And imagine building a whole, it is a living unit. So, and these people are going to come and live in your, right near you. So it's a lifestyle issue as well.
Yeah.
So it has to be taken with eyes wide open, which is why the ADU center is such a godsend.
Yeah, and just to finish up, it's also, as traumatizing as it could be, the flip side is if you buy a home that's really expensive, because our definition of affordable isn't really affordable anymore, the ADU could be a way of generating a revenue stream to help you manage that mortgage better.
Absolutely.
And so it's a win-win, both for us, for our RENA numbers, and arguably for the homeowner to help make ends meet.
Right. No, you're absolutely correct.
And the opportunity for social interaction. You could meet your best buddy.
Absolutely.
And get money from them. All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mr. Holly, did you
I only wanted to add in essentially what Brent was noting about this program from the county. It's an extraordinary program, forgivable loans, the whole 9 yards. So I think one of the things that I don't think there's a need for us to create our own incentive programs. We already waive a lot of fees, and the barriers to entry are not something that we're putting up. There are other barriers, but I think what we can do is some more education around this county program, help them kind of sell the program, advertise it. I don't know how many people are aware of it. Maybe there's some success stories that we can kind of telegraph there. And Vice Mayor Joseph, I know you did the solar on your roof with the battery. Maybe you want to do one of these ADU programs, especially with the forgivable loan. So actually, we have some success stories.
And actually, the county just a few days ago contacted me, and they're interested in scheduling a workshop in American Canyon in the next couple of months to sort of feature their ADU affordable forgivable loan program. So, yeah, it's really great that we have some things coming.
Great.
I've made sure I informed our communications director about it too, so we can get the word out.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I think I just determined my next Mayor's Corner topic. So coming up. So with that, I will now like to open up for public comment for item number 8. If there's any public comment.
I have no speaker cards for that item. I do have one hand raised online.
Okay.
Ready for that? Karen Fritz, go ahead, Karen.
Hi again. Brent, what was the square footage on that for no fees for hookups and things like that?
I believe it is. I always get this. Is it 750?
It's
or under
750.
750? I think it's 750 or less.
750 or less. It's called a state exemption ADU.
Thank you.
Oh, very good. Okay, that was my only question. Thank you.
Now, you have a big house.
I wasn't thinking about this one.
Thanks, Karen.
You bet.
Okay, I'll close public comment if there's no one else online.
There is no one else online.
Okay, I'll close public comment and return to council for further discussion or an agreement to accept this as a receive and file. Looks like everybody's willing to accept it as a receive and file. Thank you, Brent.
Welcome.
Moving on to our third item, number 9, city banking services with J.P. Morgan. So you're not Jim.
What's that?
I said I have you down. I have Jim down to be doing this. But she's out sick,
I'm obviously not Jim. Yeah, I don't have a presentation, but I have just an oral report here. So tonight we're requesting approval of a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with J.P. Morgan Chase for city banking services. This recommendation is the outcome of a request for proposal that was initiated last October. It lasted about 2 months. We finalized and selected a RFP winner in January. A little background, the city has been with its current bank for over 20 years. Vice Mayor Joseph may have been the one that signed that agreement.
It was before my time,
Okay.
so it's really long.
All right. GFOA, Government Finance Officers Association, recommends that we go out and kind of see what the market has every 5 to 10 years for banking services. So we do that for several services like audit services. Banking services is one of those. So the RFP process allows us to see what's out on the market, see what technology is out there, see what the pricing is, see what offerings is, see if we can gain any operational efficiencies and so forth. I got. Okay. So the city received 2 proposals, one from Bank of California and one from JP Morgan Chase. After reviewing the proposals and interviewing them, it included interviews and review of their online platform and pricing as well. We are recommending that we select and award the contract and enter into this agreement with JP Morgan Chase. So several things, what that means to us transitioning to JP Morgan Chase is that we are going to have lower costs compared to our current bank. We're also going to have improved earnings credit. Earnings credit is money on deposit that we have with the bank. It earns a credit and it helps us offset the fees that the bank is charging us. Their online platform is very robust and very well easy to use. Our current bank doesn't have a lot of technological enhancements, and online banking platform isn't as great as what JP Morgan Chase is offering. We're also going to have a much larger bank with a dedicated government services unit. What we have now is a branch and a bank that's commingled with other customers. So here at JP Morgan, we are going to be able to pick up the phone, have a dedicated number, and be able to call a specialized group of bankers in the government services division. So they also meet all the eligibility standards, which means the collateralization of public deposits, which is required here per government code in California. They also have a local branch presence here in Napa and Solano County. So as you know, we don't have a whole lot of banks here in American Canyon, and the ones that are here did not submit for proposals. With us tonight is also Eric and Ben from JP Morgan. They'd like to say a few words, and also if you have any questions for them, they'll happy to answer any questions. I'll be happy to answer any questions too. But in summary, after the evaluation and the RFP process, we think that this is a good fit for our organization in terms of cost efficiencies and a dedicated banking government services unit. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys may have.
Any questions? Vice Mayor.
Just a quick one. So the earnings credit from Chase is significantly higher, or at least much more than West America?
Yeah, JP Morgan Chase is going to provide us a earnings credit of 84 basis points compared to West America, which is 24 basis points.
Okay. Well, it's somewhat encouraging that West America's low rate is similar to what we're getting on our checking and savings account with them, so they weren't giving you any special deals, I can tell you that. Thanks.
Sure.
Oh, Eric, Ben?
Yeah, you guys want to say a few words?
Mayor Washington, members of council, my name is Eric Meridian. I work here at JP Morgan Chase Bank as a relationship manager for local government entities. We are very excited to earn your business through the RFP process, and I'm going to be your dedicated banker for all intents purposes, relationship manager, whatever you want to call it. So if any of the finance department has questions, any of you have questions, we'd be happy to help you in whatever you're looking to accomplish. I'm a little nervous speaking, but I'm really excited that we were chosen, so I can answer any questions anybody has. I also want to introduce Ben, and I'm going to butcher it, Karlikowski.
Close enough.
Karlikowski, he's our branch manager out in Napa, so I'll turn over to Ben for a second.
Yeah, Mayor Washington, City Council, my name is Ben Klarkowski. I manage the JP Morgan branch in Napa, so it's one of actually the largest transactional branches in the San Francisco Bay Area, believe it or not. I've also an American Canyon resident for 14 years. All my kids go to school here. So I'm super excited that this is hopefully a proposition that's going to move through, and would love to be your sort of eyes and ears on the ground locally if there's anything that you guys need at a branch level. But having a relationship manager, a dedicated banker to handle anything complex or anything challenging is the best way to go when it comes to any kind of government or complex accounts. And Eric's definitely going to be a great fit for that. So happy to be here.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Oro.
Just a quick question for the general manager, or both of you, if you know, just did you guys take over the assets of First Republic Bank? Is that what gives you that transactional strength? Sounds like it.
So I got to be careful with this one because this goes way above my pay grade. So yes, we did. You know, that was obviously a lengthy process, but we've been and had government relations, and I should let Eric speak to this, for many years beyond the First Republic acquisition. You know, we're a $4 trillion bank.
Yeah, I'm familiar. The wealth management part you took over too, I suppose. Yeah, okay.
That's correct, yes.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor.
Just a quick follow-up. I know we're focused on the banking services, and that's a good deal. But is there an investment side to Chase? Could we, you know, I know we have our monies invested in a variety of areas. Would Chase be one other area that we could put some money?
It was not part of the RFP, but absolutely, we have a dedicated JP Morgan Asset Management team that can work with the city for parking funds, depending on the investment policy that's put together for the city. If there isn't a policy, we defer to the California State Code, but I'm sure you guys have an investment policy we can go over and help diversify. I mean, LAIF is a great option. Class is an option, CalTrust, these are all great options. We have the similar products of investments for short periods of time as well.
It just seemed like something that is an add-on benefit amongst everything else. Thank you. Okay.
Okay. If there's no more questions, I'd like to open it up to public comment for item number 9. Any additional comments? Seeing no one in the audience, anybody online?
No hands raised online.
Okay, then I'll close public comment and return to council for item number 9 for further discussion or motion.
Well, no one else has any other comments. And just as an aside, years ago as the finance director here, I was a little intimidated at looking at a different banking system. So I want to give a heads up or a tip of the hat to our finance team because they were willing to tackle it. So I'll make a motion that we adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with JP Morgan Chase Bank North America for banking and merchant services.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
We have a second. Madam Clerk, can you get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Cruz?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamatina?
Yes.
Councilmember Oro?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Joseph?
Yes.
Mayor Washington?
Yes, and thank you, Eric and Ben and Juan. Moving on to our next item, item number 10, the fiscal and budgetary policies update. This is also Jim, but it's going to be you.
Me again, yep. So this item seeks approval of the amendments to the city's fiscal and budgetary policies, specifically Section 3, which governs our reserves and unallocated funds. As you recall, back in 2023, we created 4 repair and replacement plans. We created the parks, streets, civic facilities, and public safeties, and the pension stabilization fund. So in total, we created 5 new repair and replacement funds. So these came out of, as you recall, a one-time sales tax recovery. We had a windfall from sales tax recovery and also from the elimination of certain reserves that we had. The reserves that we had were the capital improvement reserve and the economic development reserve. So we kind of did some shuffling of that to better isolate and dedicate these funds for specific purposes. This update will now have a structured approach for planning and funding long-term capital renovation and replacements needed across city assets, everything from roofs, HVAC systems, to playgrounds and roadways. This will be reviewed annually, so we'll take this to the Finance Committee, and this particular one we did take to the Finance Committee a couple of months ago, and we just kind of really want to formalize this and update our budgetary and fiscal policies. We also are recommending in this update is that we formalize a process to set aside pension stabilization fund contributions. The city, we contribute and pay for our CalPERS contributions upfront, so we prepay that. So CalPERS provides us a annual required contribution. You can pay that on a monthly basis. We choose to pay that upfront and save approximately 3%. What we're recommending here is for this pension stabilization fund is that we now methodically and systematically deposit those savings that we get from paying upfront and put that into that pension stabilization fund. It's not a whole lot of money. It's approximately $30,000 to $35,000 a year. But I think since we're prepaying it, we would already otherwise budget for this. We just decide to prepay for it. That we actually put that aside and set that aside into that pension stabilization fund. As you know, if we do have a pension stabilization fund and we decide to get a Section 115 trust, that trust will allow us to invest in assets outside of California government code. For example, we would now be able to invest in equities in the Section 115 trust. So overall, the update will ensure reserves are managed consistently and responsible. Staff recommends adoption of the resolution approving the updated fiscal and budgetary policies. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Juan. Vice Mayor?
Thank you. Number one, this is not, a couple of weeks back, we talked about whether we wanted to send fiscal policies in mass or in pieces. This is more of a teaser because I think the council's direction was do it all at once. So I'm just clarifying, this is not everything. This is just the stuff that we've worked out. And I'm glad to see it, that's coming forward and we need to connect and.
Yeah, you're correct, Vice Mayor Joseph. The next bulk that we're working on, the policies will come as a bulk. This one here was just kind of lingering. We had this already done. We had it redlined and everything. Let's push it along and update it since we already have those repair and replacement funds already.
Right.
We already have funds in those, and we're already funding projects with those. It made sense to bring this now and kind of just solidify that.
And it's a great way for the rest of the council to say, wow, these fiscal policies are fun and interesting. Yeah. I can hardly wait for more. So thank you for the presentation.
Sure.
Wow, these are fun and exciting things there.
They are.
Vice Mayor.
As I've pointed out, we put the fun in fund accounting.
I know you do. I know you do.
I can do this all night, so shut me up fast.
With that said, I will open it up for public comment on item number 10. Seeing no comments, I'll bring it back to council. Oh, do we have anybody online? No, nobody online. Bring it back to council. Vice Mayor, anything else? Nothing else? Okay, then I will entertain a motion to accept. Go ahead.
All right.
Go ahead.
I'll go ahead and take over. If there are no other comments, I move that we adopt a resolution of the City Council of the City of American Canyon approving amendments to the fiscal and budgetary policies to update Section 3, reserves and unallocated funds.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Okay, I'll second.
You couldn't help yourself.
I know.
We have a second. Can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Cruz?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamatina?
Yes.
Councilmember Oro?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Joseph?
Yes.
Mayor Washington?
Yes. And moving on to our fifth and final business item, item number 12, the Napa Countywide Climate Action Committee Regional Climate Action and Adoption Planning implementation. It's 2x2 by the Vice Mayor and Councilmember Lamatina. And are you going to present, Mr. Holly?
Yeah, a little bit of a unique item. We have a working council sometimes, and so our committee members helped prepare or did most of the preparation of this staff report and have been attending Climate Action Committee meetings, Mayor. Kind of at a junction point, Regional Climate Action Plan administrative draft sort of complete. Their group is in the environmental review phase, and the discussion about implementation starting to really take shape. what is being requested now is for the council to give direction back to the subcommittee members. There's an upcoming meeting at the end of this month on the 27th, which would be a week from this Friday, I believe. And there the committee members will be asked a question essentially around implementation. And although I learned from a meeting I had on Friday that maybe things are more up in the air than was discussed at the February meeting of the CAC, the committee members will be asked essentially going forward into next fiscal year, what kind of participation does American Canyon want to have? I think there's some general consensus about continuing on the path of participating in the climate committee. There's a baseline cost of approximately $15,000 to $18,000, I think would be our share of continuing to participate in that committee process. But there's a larger question around implementation. Specifically, the consultants that have been involved have offered their services on the preparation of an implementation plan. There's ongoing negotiations right now to try and make that number go down. We'll see if that ends up happening. But regardless, there's this sort of question about whether we want to have these additional services by the consultant to develop an implementation plan, or perhaps we might do that ourselves or use our own resources to be able to do that. And it's a bit of a segue. The council has previously appropriated funds earlier this fiscal year for the purposes of hiring a part-time person doing sustainability stuff. We have interviews on Thursday, so 2 days from now. I don't recall if we're interviewing all 9 candidates that were sort of finalists or not, but it's definitely a large, healthy group, and we're excited about the prospects that are at this stage. So right now, I think, and we'll let maybe the committee members chime in here on specifically the kind of direction they're going to need for the March 27th meeting. But I do appreciate their help in preparing the staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Holly. And I guess I'll turn it over to you, Vice Mayor and Councilmember Lamontina, for any additional information that you guys like to provide.
Yes, I agree with the city manager. At a minimum, we should commit to the $18,490 baseline amount to continue participating. And then I think we should earmark some monies, not necessarily for a countywide lump sum approach. I kind of like the idea of setting the money aside. I'd even go as much as the 94 grand that they're recommending, but not necessarily committing it to Ascent and the county. As I indicated, I think we don't know who we're hiring as a sustainability analyst. If he or she is really good, I would be an advocate of saying, save that money and just buy yourself some more time with that new person. Because that way you can get the low-hanging fruit that we're looking to accomplish with this person, but we can also use him or her for working on that implementation plan. And because they would be working directly here, they would know what makes sense for us versus the county, say, or a larger city or a smaller city. So I guess I'm recommending that we go ahead, for our budgeting purposes, to go ahead and commit to the full amount, but not necessarily committing to Ascent to help us put together a package. I just would like to see that kind of money set aside in the budget so that we can continue using our own in-house staff, again, assuming we hire a good one. Rule of thumb, if you can get a good person, you can do anything, and if you don't get a good person, you have headaches, but that's another story. So those are my comments, and I would certainly defer to Councilmember Lamontina because she hasn't said as much as I have tonight, and she needs to get in there.
It's hard to get a word in, but anyways, I'm the other part of the Action Climate Committee, whatever. I'll concur with Councilmember Joseph. I think wait and see who we can select and go from there, but definitely earmark some funds because it's happening and we're supposed to be net zero by 2030. So,
Councilmember Oral.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm really ready to commit or even set aside the full $96,000. I am willing to commit a bare minimum to keep it going. I believe that amount is how much? 15?
I think it's about 18,000.
18,000, right? That's what's on the chart. 18,490. Here's the reason. We'll find the money if we need another 90,000 or whatever it is for Ascent or whoever needs to do this. As we put this together, there's a point in the staff report where it talks about assuming no legal challenges to the what does the IS stand for?
Initial study.
Initial study, and the mitigated negative declaration. Let's see how that plays out, and then figure it out. And so I don't need to commit that much. This is continuing to move forward in a slow and in a methodical and a very slow way, because we've been talking about this since prior council members have been on board, and I get the urgency for that, but until we get to that next level, I'm not willing to commit any more dollars. So 18,000 I'm good with. The rest we'll figure out as we meet milestones. How about that?
Okay. Anyone else? Did you have not a rebuttal, but do you have a comment?
Well, there's a part of me that agrees with Councilmember Oro's concern, and that's part of where I was coming from originally, that we shouldn't necessarily commit to being part of Ascent or some other external effort to help us put together an implementation plan. My concern as a budgeting person is I'd rather carve out the 90,000 now in the budget process so it's there. If we only budget the 18 and then we say, gosh, we'd like to go through with implementation, either we're tapping into reserves or we're asking staff to come up with money somehow. And there's a part of me that says we ought to set the money aside now, because either A, we'll spend it on an implementation plan, or B, it'll be our share towards a lawsuit if we are sued. So one way or the other, we need to earmark the money, not necessarily commit to spending it in any particular fashion, but just earmark it so it's part of the budget and the money is there. So I would agree we shouldn't commit to anything more specific than set the money aside for now and then see how it plays out.
One of the aspects that's related to timing right now, being able to represent back to the Climate Committee later this month that we're in for the baseline 18,000 seems to be consensus, and that's probably the most immediate feedback that's needed. In parallel, staff's working on a budget. You will see the draft budget at your second meeting in May, and that's the point in time when we're really going to have a hearty discussion on the budget. So one way to approach this would be to sort of highlight that here's the draft budget, there's pieces in it, and allow the council more dialogue at that point. Do we want to include it, do we not want to include it? And we can have the conversation about what to put in 26-27 budget through the lens of we've hired somebody, this is the existing funding that exists. Depending on when they start and what their ramp-up period is, we might not have even exhausted the current appropriation in the council. So there'll be a couple of timing aspects. In addition, by the time we get to May, we should have a sense about the exact document you were talking about, Councilmember Oro, the ISMND. Has it been released yet? When's it scheduled to be released? All of those things. The staff report is talking about it released soon. Some of the conversations I had last week talked about released late in fall, so not soon. So I think there's some confusion about the timing of that, but I'm sure that question could get asked at the March meeting. What is the schedule for the release of the CEQA document, so that we can understand some of the timing? So again, I'm not to say I'm not sure I had the right people who were telling me that. You all may have had better information at the February meeting, but the information I got last Friday didn't seem like this was imminent. It seemed like later this fall. So, but I think by the time we get to the May conversation on the budget, we ought to have more information about that. So I don't think you need a decision. There's not really a decision point other than to say if we're cool with the 18 levels or thing, that's the thing you can represent back next.
And I think the biggest concern, not a lawyer, but I'm just speculating, the biggest concern is there's been a lot of pushback on trying to retrofit all the homes. The realtors are particularly concerned with that. And I think it's important to emphasize, A, we are not trying to adopt a policy that says drop what you're doing and retrofit every home tomorrow, because I don't think anybody has the capacity to do it that fast. And B, the reason it's so expensive is because it was envisioned that we would be coming up with money to do incentives. I think it's important to emphasize and to allay some fears to say, look, this is something that when you renovate your home, yes, we're going to plug in all the other retrogrades and upgrades, but it's like anything else. You know, it's like you're grandfathered in until half your house falls apart or whatever. And so to emphasize that we're not going to be forcing this on down anybody's throat, so chill out and don't sue.
Yeah, one of the other aspects to specifically on the environmental review now. So the Regional Climate Action and Adaptation Plan is a planning document. It doesn't result in any projects happening, and realistically, it isn't going to result in any physical changes to the environment, which is one of the triggers for CEQA. Many of our master plans do not require CEQA analysis. You do that on a more project-by-project basis because you haven't reached the point where we're absolutely doing something, and then you got to review it. A predominant reason that a CEQA document is being prepared now isn't because CEQA review is needed for the document, but to try and address some other concerns about having regional greenhouse gases accounted for and being able to tier off this document with what's known as a CEQA-compliant regional climate action plan. And so there could be downstream benefits as we look at future growth in the city and we look at those individual projects and whether those projects might have greenhouse gas impacts. Having a CEQA-compliant plan would allow us to just point to that document instead of having to do individual EIRs or whatever on a project-by-project basis. But the application of where that sort of tiering or reference might apply is a pretty narrow range. Whether it's going to apply to all of our projects or not, you don't even really know until you do a project-by-project initial study, but it's not going to be everything. We're not going to get out of doing all of those studies. So there is, I'd say, a fairly substantial question mark as to how much that CEQA document is going to help. You can have a regional climate action plan, that's fine. A CEQA compliant one is going to be of a different standard, a different potential benefit. But also, if we get to the point where there is a ton of opposition amongst folks who may decide to litigate that environmental document, we also don't need it. Like, I'm not even going to bother with the environmental document. I don't care if my climate action plan is CEQA compliant or not. I still have one. I'm going to do these good things for the environment, and I'm going to dispense with the sort of CEQA dance and all the folks who want to throw darts and use CEQA to do that. So there is another potential out as far as, besides the fact that mostly this plan does things that are good.
And I know the vice mayor put on his attorney's hat, but I just want to give our attorney the opportunity to kind of clarify for all of us.
To point out how wildly off base I am in terms of law.
No, I wasn't going to do that, but you did raise the issue of the timing and the potential of a CEQA challenge, so I just want to throw out there that it's only a 30-day statute of limitations to challenge an initial study / negative declaration or mitigated negative declaration as the case may be. So it's a very short window, and anyone who wants to challenge that is limited to the comments they put in the record first when the decision was made to adopt that CEQA document.
Thank you. I feel much better hearing it from you. With that said, I'm going to open it up to public comment. Anybody in the audience with public comment on item number 12?
I have no cards, no hands raised online.
Thank you. Then I'll close public comment and I'll return to council for additional questions or a motion.
I don't.
Really isn't an action tonight, Mayor. I think there's pretty broad, direction, in this case, to the subcommittee members that say that we're in for the participation next year, the 18,000 roughly. We'll budget for that amount for sure. We're going to have a future budget conversation in May about how these additional things might come unfold once we get more information about the things that are supposed to unfold.
And I was just thinking that since Councilmember Oral kind of made a statement about him being uncomfortable with it, that maybe he would have made a motion to do something.
Yeah,
So
the direction of staff is pretty clear.
Okay.
And it's just things that will be coming down the pipe, and we understand how to have the May 19th meeting where you see the budget. Essentially, we at times will bring budget proposals to you, so it's not going to be baked into the baseline budget, it'll be like, here's a budget proposal, right? And we'll specifically identify it, make sure everyone sees it, and the council would say, okay, put that in or don't put that in. But,
Gotcha. Thank you.
baseline, it'll be a proposal.
Okay, well, that was our final business item. Now moving on to management and staff oral reports. We have item number 13, communication update by our Deputy City Manager, Ali Akita. Wearing green.
Am today. I didn't want to get pinched by a leprechaun. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Alexandra Ikeda, Deputy City Manager. I'm here this evening to give you a update, a communications update. We wanted to start off by grounding us in our city's communication toolbox. These are our primary platforms we use every day to connect with our community. At the center is GovDelivery, which allows us to send timely, targeted updates, newsletters, press releases, notifications to our residents. As you can see from the screen, our open rate is 59% and is performing well above industry norms for a government agency. Standard open rates is roughly around 25 to 35%, and then excellent and top tier is 45%. What does that tell us? Residents are paying attention and are engaged. They're connected to our content, and we are providing relevant and timely information that is important to them. Additionally, I wanted to point out, over the past year, we've had about 546,000 impressions. This is a total number of times something has been clicked or opened within something we have sent within those newsletters. So that means they're actually not only opening it, reading it, but they're actually clicking on something inside to go into it further. Some of the things that we send include our city manager's update, which includes our mayor's corner, Lobo's PAC report, our adult activity newsletter, and press releases. Then we have a virtual city hall, also referred to as our website. In the past 3 months, we have had 15,741 visits, and our top performing pages include our utility payments and accounts, recreation, meeting and agendas, human resources, facility rentals, and our community calendar. And then lastly, our social media channels, which include Facebook, Instagram, Nextdoor, LinkedIn, and X, which has also been referred to in the past as Twitter. We wanted to highlight several of our key annual communication projects. These are core deliverables that our team leads each year to ensure transparency, accountability, and our ongoing engagement with our community. These include major reports like our annual budget, the budget in brief, our annual comprehensive financial report, which is also known as our ACFR, our water quality report, our annual police report. We also produce 3 seasonal recreation activity guides, which includes fall, winter, spring, and summer. In addition, we support and deliver signature key engagement efforts like our State of the City annual report and video, and our Citizens Academy program, the Adult Academy in the fall, and our High School Academy in the spring. While these projects occur annually, they are foundational to how we communicate with our community, providing consistent, reliable, and accessible information that our residents can count on. Our social media strategy is centered on meeting our community where they are, using each platform intentionally to share information, connect with residents, educate, and tell our story. Each platform serves a special purpose and audience. Facebook is one of our primary tools for broad, multi-generational outreach. Instagram is more of a lifestyle audience, leading through visual storytelling, and it's more trendy. X, formerly known as Twitter, is used as like a newsroom for timely updates and credible information. We haven't really been using that. I do want to preference that. That is something that's new to us, and we hope to be using that here in the future. Nextdoor, which helps connect at the neighborhood level with all of our residents. And then LinkedIn, which is our professional presence for local government, highlighting staff and organizational accomplishments, partnerships, and recruitments. Through all of these platforms, you will see that we lead through the city's mission, vision, and values. Our story is telling through people first with a cohesive and unified look that you can see the city's brand and hear our voice. So for you to really understand what we're doing, I really wanted to take a moment and define how we our social media content and engagement. When evaluating social media performance, we focus on key metrics that help us understand both how far our message travels and how strongly it connects with our audience. First, we look at interactions, which are the strongest indicator that content is resonating with our community. Interactions include actions like likes, comments, shares, saves, and clicks. These require someone to actively engage with the content rather than simply scrolling past it. Interactions tell us three important things. The content captured their attention, the message resonated, and it increased our visibility. Next, we look at reach, which measures the number of unique people who saw the content. It's no longer about just scrolling. It's all about how long we get somebody to sit on a page. And so we really want that person to actually sit and look or read and look at that content. And then next, it's views and likes to provide that additional context of how the content is being consumed. So views represent the total number of times the content has appeared on the screen or was played, helping us understand the overall visibility. And then likes indicates a positive audience reaction and shows that the content resonated with those who saw it. Now, it's really important because social media, I know when we say social media world is very fast moving. So in 2025, I know that doesn't seem like a long time ago, but in the social media world, it really is. It's like dinosaur age. And so when we think about it, Meta most recently updated the metrics. They had this thing called impressions, and they have most recently replaced that with views. And they consolidate all of that to really make it understandable for our audience. And so now it's a little bit easier. So now they've kept it down to 4 for us to be able to track our engagement, our interactions through our metrics. So this is all going to be very important when we move forward. But before we get there, I kind of want to, again, take a step back and really understand where we were. So we're going to take to the world of yesterday. Before we look into the future, it's really important to take back and understand where we were to where we are today. What you see on the screen is very beautiful. These are very beautiful stagnant flyers. There's nothing wrong with them in their current form. But if you all think about what you look at today on your social media, what do you see? You don't really see stagnant stuff. We are in the world of TikTok. We are competing with our audience attention. It's no longer about having as many posts as you can get on your social media pages. It's about getting them to sit on your screen and actually digest the content on your page. It's how long we need them to sit on the page for a minimum of 3 seconds. That is considered an interaction. That is considered a view. So flyers, when you think about it, we are competing for our audience attention. I'm a mom. I'm a working mom. I have 3 kids. I have my work email. I have my personal email. I have 15 applications for all their sports applications. When I go on social media, I don't want to read. I want to scroll. And if it doesn't interest me, I'm just scrolling. And if I'm just looking at stagnant stuff, I'm just going to keep scrolling past it. So we did a pilot program over the last couple months, and we've really started to start stepping into the world of TikTok is the way that I'm putting it. And you're starting to see a little bit of a changing in the way that we're doing our content. You're seeing more interaction in our videos. You're seeing more scrolling on our pages. You actually have to scroll to get more information. You're seeing more action-packed. You're seeing more things popping out at you. Because again, we're trying to catch your attention. We're trying to get people to stay on the page. We're trying to get you to digest that content. Not just read it, but really watch it and understand it. So, as you can see from our top performing posts across Facebook and Instagram pages for the city, Parks and Recreation, American Police Department, you will notice that these metrics together help us understand our department. You'll notice that we are performing overall. In these cases, we're seeing strong reach, strong interactions, and strong likes, which indicates that our content is both widely distributed and resonating with our audience. This suggests our messaging is effectively connecting with our residents and encouraging engagement through our city information. So we're taking, in our words, boring city information and we're making it engaging. We're connecting with our residents. And you can see that through the Highway 29 project update, right? And stagnant flyer, but we made that engaging. You can see we're connecting with our residents with our cultural diversity by creating videos that resonate with them, that highlight them, with our State of the City and our annual report and our videos. It's important to note that I wanted to point out the Black History Month video. What you won't see on here is that the mayor shared this Black History video on his own personal page. That had interactions of 225. It had 3.3 thousand views. It had 9 shares and it had 46 comments. This is his own personal platform where he leveraged his own voice. The city does not manage or oversee his page, nor do we want to. So it's important for us to maintain a degree of separation because that we don't want to mix the city with his personal page because that's his voice, that's his platform. And the moment that the city puts something like that on here, that becomes a public document and public record. But we felt it was important for us to be able to show that in your forum as a city council member or even as the mayor, your voice, your platform has weight. And it's an opportunity to see how far that you're able to leverage that. And so we wanted to just point that out because we felt that that was an important metric just to point out in this setting. Here in Parks and Recreation, we play a significant role in telling our story to our community. It highlights programs, spaces, and events that enhance residents' quality of life. We reflect our cultural identity and showcase the natural beauty of American Canyon. Same thing here, very high interactions and reach and views. And then we get into the American Canyon Police Department, which has a slightly different audience than the city's main channels. Their followers tend to engage more with public safety content, such as dash cam footage, arrest updates, and examples of strong police work in our community. Because this content is immediate and visual, it naturally generates a strong engagement and has built a very dedicated following. This content has a very distinct followers. It has very different content than what you were seeing on the city pages in Parks and Recreation. And you won't see a lot of the content that is shared on city pages or Parks and Rec shared on the city pages because the followers on these pages don't want to see that type of content. And so we do that very purposefully because, again, the followers that are on these pages want to see good police work. And you'll see that in the interactions and the reach. And you can just see that by the views in themselves. I mean, the one on February 3rd have 55,000 views. The one also on February 26th had 31,000 views. I mean, that just tells you how much we are reaching and how much these type of posts are engaging with our community. These are additional outreach efforts that were a little bit special that we wanted to point out. We, in addition to videos and cultural diversity, we also partner with other departments throughout the city. We do hiring, we did the council survey, and then most recently we did the International Day of Women in Science video. That was really fun to be able to highlight our public works team as well as our water distribution team and all the women in science here in the city. We had a really great time putting that video together. Facebook followers, we're seeing a steady increase from the last quarter to this quarter on our city and ACPD pages and a decrease on our Parks and Recreation page, a strong indication as to why, and we'll get into this a little bit later, but we will be making a recommendation of us combining our city and Parks and Recreation pages just because we are noticing a little decrease of our Parks and Rec followers. And then same here. We're noticing those are our followers for our Instagram. And then we wanted to take a moment and highlight some of the most recent recognitions for our communications efforts. Over the past several years, the city has received several awards for our work, including recognition for our activity guides, which continues to be an important tool for connecting with our residents to our programs and services. Parks and Recreation is pretty unique. It's one of the few city services where residents have a choice. They get to choose to participate here or go elsewhere. It's our goal to ensure they choose American Canyon whenever they think of Parks and Recreation. And that's why we take great pride in the quality of our programs and the services, as well as the investments we make in effectively promoting them through our activity guide. This recognition reflects not only the strength of the publication itself, but also the value of the experience we're providing to our community. Most recently, we were honored by CPRS, which is the California Parks and Recreation Society, for our communication efforts in supporting the Wall That Heals. This project was especially meaningful as it required thoughtful coordination and outreach to ensure that the community was informed and able to participate in such an impactful event. Being recognized at the state level among many strong applicants is something we're very proud of. Reflects the care and creativity and dedication of our team bringing this work every single day. These are upcoming initiatives. We wanted to just highlight several upcoming projects where the team will be supporting over the next couple months. As you all are aware, hydrant flushing kicked off yesterday and will continue through April 23rd. We are wrapping up this year's annual police report, which we presented to the council on April 7th. And we will be beginning our work on the annual water quality report, which will be released to the public before July 1st of this year. In addition, we'll be supporting a broader city initiative with the revenue measure around polling and updating the Parks Master Plan, which should be completed this coming June. On the capital side of things, the Veterans Playground Replacement Project is breaking ground this April, and the park restrooms at Northampton and Silver Oak Park are expected to start around the same time. And finally, we will be coordinating outreach and planning efforts for several community events and ceremonies, including Memorial Day and the Pride Flag Raising Ceremony and the Juneteenth Flag Raising Ceremony here at City Hall. So what's next? It's funny, when we talk about where we're going and our strategy of where we are today and what we're currently working on, but now I want to take a moment and talk about what we're going to be evaluating in our efforts and identifying opportunities to improve how we're going to move forward. First, we are going to look at our water utility bill. During my call last week with Councilmember Oro, he was telling me that he didn't remember the last time he actually opened his water utility bill, and he informed me that he pays his bill electronically. And he didn't realize that we actually put flyers inside our electronic bills. And he asked me, he goes, like, is that something that you normally do? And I was like, yeah, we do it all the time. He goes, huh, that's really interesting. Do you do that for every customer? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, well, why? I'm an electronic customer. And I was like, and I literally sat there and I started to cringe. Because the one thing that I absolutely despise is this statement, and I was going to say it. and it was like in every bone in my body, and it was like literally the statement that I absolutely hate. It was like, because we've always done it that way, Councilmember Oro. And I absolutely hate that statement. And it was like the one statement that was the only statement that could absolutely come to my brain. And I was like, and I'm that person right now. And so it got us talking about how this was a great opportunity for us to really look at what we are doing and why. And to his point, I don't know how many bills go out electronically, and we really should be looking at that. And so I'm going to be working with our water utility team, and we're going to see how many customers actually receive electronic bills, and we are going to reevaluate that. Secondly, social media, we kind of highlighted a little earlier. We're noticing a decrease in our Parks and Recreation followers, and we're noticing an increase and an uptick in our city pages. And our philosophy is the city has one voice, one vision, one brand. And Parks and Recreation is not separate of that. We are part of that. We help enhance the community's quality of life. We are not separate from that. And so we truly believe that we are part of the city's vision, mission, and values, and we are that brand. And so we, along with the council's communication ad hoc subcommittee and city staff's recommendation, we are going to be combining our Facebook and Instagram pages into one page. So we'll have one city Facebook page and one city Instagram page. And this way, it's just one voice, one vision, one brand. And that way, we're not duplicating efforts, and we have just followers for Facebook and followers for Instagram. And then lastly, newsletters. Since we really understand our metrics and where we're going and what we want to see, we really want to make sure that our newsletters are purposeful. We have a couple newsletters that we do quarterly and we do monthly, and we really want to understand the metrics around that and make sure that those are meeting the same standards and expectations of all the other newsletters. So with that, Mr. Mayor and Council, that is the end of my communications update. I'm here to answer any questions for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that update. And I'm curious for Councilmember Oro. I'd like to tap into his expertise because he is a communication kind of guy, right?
Yeah.
So I'd like to see what
I'm
you
way
would
more
have to say.
way more fun in Mark than in accounting.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking forward to hearing what you got to say.
first of all, I want to thank Allie for actually touching base with me ahead of this presentation, and I'm glad to serve on the communications committee alongside the mayor. Listen, if you guys look back at over the years of how this organization has evolved and how it communicates, it's come a long, long way. And I want to thank Allie for continuing to meet with me and also challenge herself. And honestly, I didn't mean to go off on her on the utility bill. I didn't. I felt ignorant, honestly, because literally we get a notification, I pay my money, water, sewer, all that. I'm not downloading the bill, right? And if you download the bill, that's where the flyer is. And that ended up being our discussion. I was like, if you're going to put information in the utility bill from an electronic form, I'm actually not going to see it. And the one I pulled down was really pretty. It was like it looked like the leaflet outlet. And I was like, hey, that actually looks pretty good. But I never opened it. And the only reason why I opened it was because my daughter has an apartment at Berkeley where she's going to school, and she was screaming about her water bill being high. And I'm like, I think our rates are pretty good. And so I pulled it down to compare like water usage rates, and I'm like, hey, there's a flyer in here about a city event. And I honestly hadn't pulled one up in 2 years. So that was it. But back to the point of the communications program, and I think the best measure of all of this is, an engaged community, obviously. But sometimes if we don't hear from the community, that's a good thing because they know what's going on. We just began the water flushing. That was, I think, one of those things where we talked a couple years ago about we need to communicate that a lot better. And I think last year was like, I didn't hear too much about it, right? And so these are the things that we're going to continue to improve on. So thank you for this report. And if anybody's been here, for a while, we're just continuing to improve how we report and what we do from a communication standpoint. Thank you, Ally.
Yeah, to add to that, I want to say that, and I know your lights are on. I'm going to tell you, you can talk in a minute. But I also want to say that I forward a lot of my stuff to the city south of us. And I get compliments from their elected officials saying that we should do stuff that you guys are doing here by communicating out to the community. So we're getting props from neighboring cities as well of how we're communicating out there. So, I mean, hats off to what you're doing out there as well. Now, Vice Mayor.
The only thing I was going to say is I'm still sitting here trying to learn how to be in this century. I was sitting, when you were talking about, flyers are not very dynamic, I'm thinking, okay, that's all I got. So yeah, I am a dinosaur. I'm not even of this century when it comes to social media, and I wish I were. So I will try to learn from you as much as I can. It was a very good report.
Yeah,
I'm
very good. Right.
Just
Thank you.
focused on how obsolete I am, that's all.
Councilmember Lamatina.
Thank you for that report. It was excellent, and I do believe that we are improving our communications, but like Councilmember Oro, I've never downloaded my bill. Just pay it and keep on going. So that was good to know. And then just a question, do we have a TikTok account or no?
We do not, no.
Okay. I'm a
Although
TikToker.
I mean,
I scroll.
I mean, I'm all about it.
I was just curious, no pressure.
Okay, any other? Okay, then thank you, Ally, for that presentation. And then we'll move on to our mayor and, unless there's.
Do you have any other
I
community
do,
updates?
if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I have quite a few, so.
Okay.
There's quite a lot going around town. So starting on March 19th, the American Canyon Arts Foundation is hosting an Irish cultural event at the Micologic Center at 6 p.m. On March 21st, there's a lot on March 21st. So first off that day, we have a Newell hike from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. hosted by the American Canyon Community Parks Foundation. Also that day, Firewise is hosting a landscape and gardening session at Las Casitas Mobile Home Community from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. ACHS Arts and Music Fest Mustard Celebration at RD Winery from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. On March 22nd, Napa Solano Audubon is holding a free bird walk at the Wetlands Edge Park from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. On March 28th, Wetlands Invasive Plant Removal Volunteer Day at Wetlands Edge Park from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. This is in partnership with Napa RCD and the American Canyon Community and Parks Foundation. Also that day is Bunny Brunch at the Micologic Center from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And then also that day is the Book Donation Day at the American Canyon Library from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. March 31st, city offices will be closed in honor and respect of Cesar Chavez Day. And then if you have not heard and you have not been following social media, hydrant flushing started yesterday and it will go through April 23rd. We are in Zone 1 right now, which is currently north of Airport Boulevard, west of North Kelly Road, and South Kelly Road. Each zone will take 5 to 7 days. For all of our zones, please visit www.americancanyon.gov/hydrant flushing. And then lastly, if you have not done so already, tickets are still on sale for our community recognition dinner at the Doubletree Hotel for April 25th. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ally. Anything else, Mr. Hawley? No? All right, then moving on to our mayor and council comment and committee reports. We'll start with you, Vice Mayor Joseph.
Nothing to report.
Excuse me?
What?
Say again?
Hey, I was gonna hype the Irish Culture Center and the arts thing, but Ally already covered it.
Okay. Threw me off
She's
there.
into that social media communication things, and I'm a dinosaur. I told you.
Yeah, gotcha. Councilmember Oral.
He's not wearing green, so he can't talk about St. Patrick's Day Irish thing anywhere.
have my green postcard.
Yeah. No, nothing else to report.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Lamatina,
Nothing to report?
Councilmember Cruz.
And nothing to report.
Thank you, and my report's on file. Any future agenda items by anyone? Vice Mayor?
I have a few. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just was looking at the future agenda items that was provided to us. And one of the council, I seem to have fallen off the council request, one of my items. Just wanted to see if that was an oversight or did it get pushed into something that I don't know about? And that was around BDSP.
Thank you for that. It's essentially the, it's not on here. Hilarious. We're in the process of scheduling a joint session with the Planning Commission on July 21st, which is the second meeting in July, which doesn't show up on the front page because we're only going through June, but it's July 21st. The joint session is around BDSP. It's around the opportunity sites, the opportunity blocks, if you will. And so it is scheduled. It just doesn't show up on here.
And that's a regularly scheduled council meeting.
We're going to have a joint session with the Planning Commission. Yeah,
But it's during
third
the
Tuesday.
regularly scheduled
Third
council.
Tuesday.
Yeah, okay.
Vice Mayor?
Okay. First, more of a request. I noticed that NVTA is recruiting for active transportation commission persons. We have 2 designated. I think Barry Christian is one. And I know they're recruiting, but I was going to say if the city could do a little bit of outreach, particularly with the idea of maybe having a high school student be our other person. That way, we'll have the wisdom of a Barry Christian and the energy and enthusiasm of a high school student.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just a suggestion, because I think we've had a vacancy for a while, and it would be nice to fill it with somebody who's young and engaged. Beyond that, though, I'd like to put a couple of things on the table. One, in response to Beth's comment about a reader board, I think that's worth talking about, but also in the context of, I know we've had some electronic billboard proposals floating around, and arguably the electronic billboard could be kind of a reader board where you would get so many public service addresses or something. So if at some point we could come back and talk about those 2 issues and how they interact or what the status is. And then the other one is we identified our top 4 priorities. Broadway district specific plan was one of them. High strength waste was one of them. Figuring out our urban boundaries, which I think is we're on target to do. The last one talked about east side connections and circulation. So I would like to bring back a discussion about circulation, particularly on the east side and the Newell extension. But in light of Hugh's comment, maybe a little bit of talk about the west side connector as well. So if we could have, schedule in the near future some discussion about circulation in general, particularly on the east side, but elsewhere. I think it might be worth it to look at all the things that we have underway. I think it might be a worthwhile discussion. As I mentioned the last time, it could be a town hall format, or it could just be a business item for discussion. But I'd like to put that on the list.
Okay, you got that, Mr. Holly?
Yeah, and I would second that, a circulation update sometime before the end of the year.
Or sooner than that, frankly. If it's one of our priorities for the year, it seems like we should start talking about it before the end of the year.
I think we can accommodate that. One of my suggestions, coming up at our next meeting, we'll be doing a quarterly check-in for myself on a performance evaluation. I think I can give you some updates on where we stand with these council priorities, and I think from there we can have a conversation with the council about what's the format do we want to have? Is it a joint thing? Is it separated? What's the purposes? All those kind of pieces, and we can deliver on something. I will note the calendar kind of through the end of June is pretty filled up, and July, single meeting around the Planning Commission. So realistically, we're talking about August, September timeframes. But yeah, I think in our next meeting, we can kind of get into the details of what the council's looking for.
Yeah, and I kind of want to bring back what the Vice Mayor was mentioning about the reader board. I like the reader board ideal as well, but I think what we had proposals on were not so much the reader board, was more of the static bulletin boards that are going down Highway 29. That's what we had the conversations about.
We actually, so we have received, well, and this was probably 2 years ago now, we have received an application for electronic billboard. And so it's in the form of a development agreement application and some zoning changes. And so we've been talking with the developer, doing our own research, doing some appraisals, looking at some different possibilities. So we have been taking a look at it, and we can give council an update on where those are, including in this concept would be the kind of messaging and the public messaging, but
Yeah.
it's also.
Yeah, I distinctly remember Councilmember Oro saying he didn't want to see call Ann Fong or something like that on the sign going around. Reminded me about that. But yeah, I think to your point, it's just something for local community to constantly know what's going on in the community. Something like they do at the high school, the small sign like that. Yeah.
There's a range of options that we've been looking at, so yeah, we can bring something back.
Yeah, but other than that, I don't have anybody else have anything for the future? No? Okay, then we have concluded our business for this evening, and we are adjourned. Good night, American Canyon.
The only thing we should mention is we've got to get the clock fixed up, because I was sitting there thinking, wow, 7 o'clock, we're really doing great. Yeah, that's why I talk so much. The phone, if the clock was right, I would have been done.